Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we got a review and this time it's an IEM review and it's this IEM on my desk as you can see. This is the Truthear Gate. A little bit of a backstory. The Truthear came out with an IEM named Truthear Hola about a year ago. Something like that. And after a few months, that was a very well praised IEM. That was a very good sounding IEM. And after a few months, they just silently killed it off. And again, after a few months after that, they came out with this one, Truthear Gate. They didn't directly come out and say this is the like a successor or a replacement for that IEM, but we can assume that this IEM is kind of a replacement for that one. So today we're gonna review this thing. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna see how this thing sounds like. We're gonna describe the sound signature. And also, we're gonna do some comparisons. There's a couple of other great IEMs in this price range. Again, this is the $20 price range. There are some good, comparable, competitive markets. Okay, this price range is kind of a saturated market and it's already evolved. And I believe there's only a few options that are sounding really good in this price range. And this is one of those things, spoiler alert. So, we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna mention all the competitives. I'm gonna compare them to them and I'm gonna describe the sound signature. So, let's get right into the review. So let's begin with the box and the accessories that it comes with. Alright, look at the box. This is the artwork as you can see, and here's your frequency response graph. And it's a single dynamic driver, 10mm dynamic driver. And I want to mention these two properties, the impedance of 28 ohms and sensitivity of 122. So, as you can see, these characteristics mean that this IEM is very easy to drive. Again, with a lot of people, especially when people want to get into the IEM, like a IEM market for the first time, they're looking at this price range, $20 price range. And they ask, I mean, it's a valid question. They ask, like, do I need special equipment or gear to drive this thing? Do I need to invest in a dongle, DAC amp? Do I need to invest in anything? And the answer is a very resounding no. As you can see the characteristics, it's very easy to drive. I was able to drive this thing and get plenty of overhead lift using just a simple, just using my phone. Sorry, as a matter of fact, I didn't just stop there. And I do this test every time I'm doing a review. And I did some testing too. I used the dongle DAC amp. This is the Moondrop Down Pro. And this is just simple Apple dongle. I did some A/B testing. And also I used this thing with a simple streaming service like Spotify. And I use this thing and with my library of FLAC files, highest quality of files that I can find for music. So was there any difference? I did A/B testing. I went back and forth. I skipped songs. I compared it every 10 seconds, every 30 seconds. Let me tell you what. The results is that their differences is very minimal. And I do this test every time, and a lot of times the results are gonna be the same, that the differences are very small. But with some IEMs the differences are more. But with this IEM especially, no. There wasn't that much of an improvement if you use this thing on high quality files. There was, like, if I have to quantify it again, around 5 to 6%. It's very small. I have to really, really listen for it. Sorry, honey. I had to really, really listen for it. And then it was just only in the details, very small details. So save your money. You don't have to get any special equipment. Just a simple dongle like this will give you plenty of quality and sound too. Alright, and now let's get back into the accessories. I usually don't do unboxings and my reviews because it takes time, but I wanted to do it with this thing. As you can see, it's like a very beautiful box. It's very classy. It's like a satisfying small. There you go. If I remove this thing, you can see. Here's your ear tips and there was some paperwork in here. But yeah, I really like this box. It was a really enjoyable experience. So let me show you the accessories that it came with. Here's the carrying bag that it came with. It's honestly, it's alright. It's again $20, but I've seen better in this $20 price range. But this one is okay too. I don't know. This is not real leather, obviously, but it uses this like mechanism, which is like very sturdy. And yeah, you could use this. It will definitely get you going. You'll be fine using something like this. This is a carrying pouch that it comes with. But more important, let me skip this. Alright. And more importantly, these are the two sets of ear tips that it came with. And I want to mention and talk about these things all the time. I want to mention ear tips because I believe ear tips do make a lot of difference. Unlike like a DAC, they do make a lot of difference, and it differs between IEMs too. Like, right? And let me talk. Okay, so I like that the variations are very good. This comes with like two variations, and each of these variations of ear tips are in like small and medium and large sizes. All right, this comes with a, as you can see, this is like a wide bore. It's a wider bore core in the middle, and it's shorter. And this set, as you can see, it's the set that it's on it. It's like a more like a bullet type shape, and it's longer, and it also has a narrower core, well, narrower bore, as you can see. So yeah, both of these, I used both of these ear tips to listen to it. These ear tips are really good. They have like a above average quality. So especially I have had some other IEMs in this price range. Not all the ear tips have this quality. Not everyone has a great quality. So, but these ones really are comfortable. You could definitely use them. They're very comfortable, both of them. And on top of that, they sound really great with this IEM as well too. The differences, well, I'm going to talk about that later on in the sound signature part. But the differences is that mostly what I'm going to mention on the wide bore ones, because I listen to the wide bore set for a long time. And the wide bore, what I'm going to describe in the sound signature is more closely to this one. And I believe when I put other ear tips on it too, it sounds similar to the wide bore ones. But with the narrow bore ones, it adds a little bit of a bass and makes it the sound and the treble more relaxed. So if you feel like there's not a lot of bass here, you really enjoy it. Definitely, it adds a bit of a boost of a bass, and really it gives you a little bit of a difference, like a sound, and it's really enjoyable. Both of these really good, enjoyable sound too. So it depends on your preferences. And I really like that they included two different sets that do different sounds and are comfortable and of a good quality. So that's a very good thing. Good job, Truthear. So let me put this aside, and let's quickly talk about the design and the cable over here. Okay, I have to mention that like, I really love this cable. This cable, let me show you. It's like very beautiful, and not only like look at this. It behaves very well, as you can see. It's flowing very beautifully, and I really like this cable. It's really thick, braided, kind of style. It's a 2 braid and then small chin cinch and then just a simple wire. Comes with these connectors which are like very small. I like these connectors a lot. It's very small, and you can like definitely match this on other more expensive IEMs. And I would like, there's a lot of people who just buy these IEMs just for the spare cable, because a minimal spare cable costs exactly like $20 to at least. So yeah, you can definitely get this just for the cable, and it's beautiful. And this IEM and the cable comes in like another color, which is white. I kind of regret getting the black one. The white one is just like also very beautiful too. But this one is like very great looking as well. All right. Let me see. Let me give it a wrap. And as you can see, like it wraps very well and it behaves very well as well. And okay, after that, I want to talk about the shells. Well, there's not much to say. I preferred the shell on the Hola. I mean, I didn't have it, but looking at it like from the pictures, the Hola I believe looked much prettier. This thing has like a transparent window inside this driver over here, as you can see. I think this is really good looking too. So it's just a little bit of a victim of its predecessor. Yeah, but also like in a vacuum, this thing I believe looks really great too, and fit. It's, as you can see, there's like a little bit of a pinnate shape, and this like the small little bit of a wing. This thing really like fit in my ear very well. I had no problems with the shells. It's small. It's not that big. It's on the medium small size of a shell. It fits in your ear very well. It's flush with your ear. It doesn't protrude out of your ear. So yeah, it's a very good cable. And also, I don't talk about this a lot, but this comes with a non-microphone version, but I got the microphone version, and that has these controls on it too. I have to say, the microphone on this thing is really good too. This is a side note, but usually a lot of microphones on like these cables and IEMs and other earbuds have a lot of noise floor, which means they cut out a lot of the bass and cut out a lot of treble because people use these things for like voice calls, and it makes your sound and your vocal sound come across and people hear what you say, but it's not a complete good presentation of actual how your sound actually sounds like. So but this thing, I could not hear any noise floor on it, so it really sounded like a very good rich recording of your vocal. So if you want to do more recording, you don't want to spend much, yeah, this is really good. I had to mention it. I mean, of course, it picks up more of background noises, but yeah, that's the trade that you make. So, like, you can even see the first few videos I made on this channel on the earbud reviews, I used the microphone on this thing before I got another microphone. So you can see it. If you want to see, hear how it sounds like, actually, go ahead and watch those videos. We're gonna see how it exactly sounds like. I don't do any editing. That's the raw sound that it gives you. All right. Now that we've got every non-sound stuff out of the way, let's talk about the sound signature over here. Okay. The sound signature over here, I have to say, this is very neutral and balanced sound signature. I really like this thing. Let's talk about the bass first of all. Okay, I wouldn't describe this set not bassy at all. The bass definitely is not the most prominent and the star of this IEM. And I have to say, yeah, because there's not a lot of it here. As far as other IEMs in this price range go, this is the one on the much less amount of bass side. But don't be mistaken that there's not a lot of bass on it. It definitely sits back in your mix and it gives complement to your vocals and your treble and your other musical instruments, right? But it also has like this sub bassy profile into it. So some basses are like this, have this aggressive, punchy, rumbly sound to it. But some basses have this more profile of a sub bassy, clean, lingering, just very clean and not too much in your music. This is definitely on the sub bassist side. There's a lot of sub bass in your music, and you can, if you want to listen to the bass line in your music, you can definitely hear it immediately. But you have to pay attention. It's not the kind of bass that's gonna grab your attention. But it's there if you want to follow the bass line. You can do that very easily. It's very clean. It's definitely not sacrificed and it's not bad at it. But it's not doing anything outstanding. And I would say the star of this IEM is the mid and the treble presentation. And this is gonna give you more context when I compare it to other IEMs. But the mids are very, very beautiful and clear. There's a lot of like richness and colorfulness to the sound. Male vocals, female vocals, there's no dip in the lower mids, there's no shoutiness anywhere. So it's a very beautiful sound. It's a very beautiful vocal content. And the vocal content, it just sits in the middle of your like mix, your music. And what is the star of the show is the treble, and that treble gives you a lot of sparkiness and a lot of micro details, especially to the vocals, and it complements the vocals very well. And so that means the vocals are gonna pop a lot, and also the treble. I believe this is the best treble and the most trebly well done sound in this price range, especially. There's a lot of it, but it never becomes harsh or annoying. Definitely, you don't have a problem, but it's very, very prominent in your mix, especially like the hi-hats and the snares. Those sounds are very prominent in your mix. It's a very beautiful sound, like again, but it's the kind of it could get annoying. It kind of grabs your attention. This is the thing. The treble over here is the thing that kind of grabs your attention. But it means that like following like drum patterns, especially with the hi-hats and the snares, are going to be really satisfying over here because it's very prominent and it sounds really good. And again, that treble gives a lot of like micro details, feeling of a lot of details with to your music. So it's very good. And also, if it like a little bit bothers you, you can use this like narrow bore set ear tips again. This gives you a little bit more bass and maybe subdues a little treble. But like this combination makes the treble to be balanced a little bit more. So definitely, yeah. it's never harsh. It's never a harsh or sibilant treble, though. I have to mention that. But as far as treble goes, this is like above the average line of treble. It's not the most treble I've heard by any means, but it's definitely above average, and it's very enjoyable too. It's like if you want to sit down, it gives you like it has the characteristic. This high end have the characteristic of like a very classy sound. There's a lot of sound in it, but it's not like a exaggerated in any sense. Especially like the classical music sounds good. Even like metal, a lot of like the progressive metal, like Catatonia band or like the Opeth, sound really good on it because you're like can able to hear the sounds and like follow those like Tool. You can follow those drum patterns very well. And like there's the bass line when you want to listen for it, it's there. But like the guitars, the if like when there's like a couple of layers of different guitars on it, like a rhythm and like a lead and even two rhythms, you can definitely see those layers on it, feel it. It's a very refreshing sound. I really like that. So let's not linger on this subject anymore. Definitely, if you have more questions, let me know about the sound signature. I'll answer. And let's do some comparisons right now. All right. So I'll put this aside. I'll bring not one comparison and two. These three IEMs. This is the only other three IEMs that I have in this price range, but I also have heard the 7Hz 02, and that's a very good set as well. I'm gonna when I'm talking this, doing these reviews and comparisons, I'm gonna mention that one as well. But yeah, these are the three that I already have in this price range, and all of them are really good. And I'm gonna do some sound comparisons right now. But before that, and I do want to mention this every time I do this like $20 IEMs, and I want to every time mention that although I'm gonna do some comparisons and make some differences and point it out, I have to say that all these IEMs are more similar than they are different. If you look at the even frequency response graphs, they look very similar to, and in the sound listening experience as well, they sound more similar than they are different again. So if you want, like, if you're hesitant on which one of these you're gonna get, don't think about it too much. They're very similar. So if you go with any of these things, you're gonna get a good experience, good sound, and it's not gonna be so far off and different from any of the other ones, right? So, and I think what you want to really actually like uh, consider more is the accessories, the tips that these things come with, the cable and the build quality of them, the design of them. These are things that are more important because the sounds are very similar, just with a hint of a difference in the overall sound profile. All right. Now that warning is out of the way, let's do some comparisons. And first, let's talk about these two. All right. This is Moondrop Chew 2, and these two are like very different sounds. Okay. So this is more of a V-shaped sound. There's a lot of bass here compared to this thing. And not even that, the bass profile is very different. Sound characteristics. As I can say, like this thing has a lot of mid bass on it. It's more groovy, punchy, and definitely there's more amount of it even. But this thing, there is bass to it, but it's definitely less. It's pulled back in the mix. This is definitely more prominent in the mix, but this is pulled back in your mix and your music. It's complementing the other parts. And also the quality of it, the texture of it is more sub-bassy. It's a more sub-bassy sound profile, bass profile too, compared to this. So it's more clean. There's not a lot of aggressiveness, punchiness to it, but it sounds more analytical, more clean. So that's the different sound signature in the bass between these two. And this thing sits in the middle. It's more close to this thing. This is Tongues of Honor. It's more closer to this thing. It's more sub-bassy, but it has some of the punch and the aggressiveness of the mid bass of over here in it too as well. So that's the difference in that area. And if I have to like say which one has the most amount of bass, definitely this is the ranking I would make. This is more to less. And if I have to do a ranking of the treble, which is I believe this is the shining star of this IEM. This is the best treble I've heard in this price range and even higher. So it has a really good and like satisfying treble. It gives you a lot of micro details and contrast to your music. So that's what is this music? Okay. And well, yeah, this is the ranking of the treble. this thing has some, but this thing is the most recessed one, more relaxed, more dulled and smoothed over treble compared to this thing. It's still pretty good, but the treble over here is in the middle of your mix compared to this thing, which is very, very prominent and forward. Like this thing a little bit close to that, but it's a little bit more pulled back than this thing. This is the treble ranking, I would say. And okay, every time between all these, 7Hz02 stays with this thing. That one is very similar to this thing, just maybe a bit of a better resolution. But yeah, this is the ranking, and the vocals in the mids. Honestly, it's a toss up between these two. These two have both very good sounding vocal content. If I have to give the edge, this thing slightly sounds better in the vocals. Not just because it sounds better. If you listen to it for the first time on the first impression, this thing sounds better in the vocals. But if you want to listen to music for a long time, because this thing has a more of a recessed treble, it's more of a relaxing set to listen to for a while, right? But this thing has more details comparatively. So yeah, that's the difference. But both of these two very good in the vocal. They both kind of prominent in their music, and this thing comes last. I mean, this is really good too, but these things are just slightly better. As you can see, like between all these other types and genres, and these sounds are slightly differences between these. When I mentioned this all like genres and like these different music instruments and frequencies, it's a toss up, and all sound really good too. This thing has very good clear mids as well too, but this thing is better. So that's the ranking between all these things, and yeah, that's the comparison that I wanted to make over here. So generally, this thing is a neutral sound compared to all of these things. It's more neutral than these things. The bass is very neutral, vocals neutral, maybe with a slight hint of brightness, which means a slight boost of the treble and maybe the vocals to it. But this is very neutral with a hint of brightness, and this thing is very much also similar to this thing in some ways because it has very similar vocal presentation, but definitely this goes the other way. This is neutral with a hint of warmth, right? It goes the other way, leans the other way slightly. And this thing is totally different. It's a V-shaped. There's a lot of bass on it. There's some treble on it. Not as much as this thing, but it's V-shaped on it. So this is the different sound signature between these things. Again, they're very similar. They're more similar than they're different. If you want to make your purchase and you're wondering which one you should get, yeah, pay attention to the other things, cable and the build quality. And with the build quality of these things, I've never heard anyone like I'll see a lot of posts. I see some posts about like this thing, Tangzu Warner, getting broken after a while, but I haven't seen any problems with this thing over here. And it's a really solid build quality. It's not as good as this thing has metal shells, but again, it's really beautiful. It's good enough. It's really light because it's plastic, and the cable is excellent as well. So that was the comparisons, and I kind of mentioned the 02. It's like the 7Hz02 is very similar to this thing as well. That's also a V-shaped one, V-shaped sound signature, very similar to this thing, but maybe more resolving than this thing. But that one has a plastic shell, and this one has a metal shell. So that's a toss-up between those two as well. And I believe that is the comparisons that we made. And alright, in conclusion, this is a very good sounding IEM. It's generally neutral with a hint of brightness maybe, which you can, if that's too much for you, again, you can fix it with some tip rolling. It's a very satisfying sound. It's very light and compact. You can easily pop it in your ear, move it around. It's very durable. The cable is excellent. The accessories are really good at the ear tips that it comes with. And it gives you a very, very competitive sound. And that's it. So in conclusion, I'll give this thing a 4 out of 5 stars, and I definitely give it a recommendation. So let me wrap up this review, and if you have any questions about Truthear Gate or any other IEMs that I mentioned or did not mention, I might have forgotten something, definitely let me know. If you have any questions, comparisons, in some specific something let me know. And I hope you have a great time wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.